going here soon.
We're going to go ahead and get started this morning with the Pledge of Allegiance. Steve, if you lead us in a short prayer. Appreciate it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, be with us today as we deliberate the business of the county. Help us, Lord, to keep in mind the best interests of our residents, Lord, our taxpayers. Help us, Lord, to keep in mind also all your guidance, your wisdom that we have. Ask all these things, Lord, in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Steve. All right. Have you had a chance to look at the minutes from April 30th of 2024?
Yeah, make a motion to approve. Second.
Okay. Motion carries. Thank you. All right, Tony, what do you have for us today?
First thing I have is the weekly Allied Health Insurance claims. Those are in the amount of $11,972.61, and that is all medical. And I signed that they are our claimants. $11,972.61, all medical.
All right. Any questions on that? If not, I accept the motion to approve that claim.
So move. Second.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, next I have payroll claims. The payroll claims are in the amount of $379,282.74, $379,282.74.
Okay, any questions on that? If
No,
not,
motion to approve.
okay.
Second.
Okay. Next I have the payroll time card approval. I think you all received via email. Payroll time card approval for department heads.
Okay, you guys had a chance to look at those.
I have. Make a motion to approve. Second.
Okay.
Motion carries.
And I have the monthly clerk report that I had emailed you all. Monthly clerk report submitted by Clerk Shelley Bright.
Okay, did you guys get a chance to see that on your email?
I did. Motion to approve. Second.
Okay, motion carries.
Okay, I do have Ed's treasurer's report. They're busy. They're busy in the treasurer's office. He may or may not make it down, but we will wait until it gets to his time. And if he does not make it down, I pass that out to you for approval, but we'll give him a chance to get down here. I would ask Stan as chairman, if you are so inclined, rather than having Mr. Ramsey sit through all the other stuff, if you would let him come up now to seek his annual budget approval.
He probably doesn't have anything else to do.
I know Tim likes our company and all, but he might have to get back to Bluffton.
Yeah, you're certainly welcome to come up if you'd like. Okay. The only thing we'd accept I'd accept a motion to enter this treasurer's report into records.
So move. Second.
All right, motion carries. Thank you. How's Tim?
Doing well.
Good.
Actually, I don't mind really sitting in on it because I learn a lot,
Oh,
you know, what's going on in the county. So I
well, you're certainly,
appreciate it.
yeah, you're certainly welcome to sit in for sure.
Thank you.
Because you know us. You know. So you can throw it. Yep. Sure.
I don't think so, but I'm gonna double check it.
One of the things, and I know it's in here as far as how many Adams County residents you serve.
It's on the second page.
Second page.
At the top. We have 53 right now, and these numbers, they vary throughout the year as we add people and we lose people and so on. Right now, we have 53, and Golden Meadows, we actually had one of the residents there move into one of our homes.
Good, thank you.
Just the beginning of May.
Okay,
And then we have another lady that's actually in the paperwork process of actually coming to one of our homes also. So, anyway,
very good.
so we're glad to have them.
Yeah.
But last year, we had an increase, which thank you very much for that. And this year, we're not asking for anything additional, as I stated last year that we would not. So in this past year, our staffing has improved. We've actually added some staff on that, so that's gotten better. And we've also increased our pay quite a bit over the past year. So that's certainly helped with our staffing, but at the same time, it really increases our expenses in that too. So our bed occupancy is up, so that really helps too, because from last year or so, that's been down. And then we actually did receive a rate increase, which was retroactive to July 1st, and we didn't really receive the money until later in the year last year. So that has impacted our finances also, because last year was pretty dismal. So it was a tough year. So this year we are at a negative $208,000, which, you know, isn't right where you want to be, but at the same time, it's $633,000 better than it was last year. So that looks better to us. Actually, with the rate increase, the beds, the additional staff and everything, we're going in the right direction. So, and plus we're financially sound anyway, so there's no concerns there. And then as far as the people that we serve, we've talked about Adams County. Wells County, we have 69 individuals that we provide services there right now. And they were always just about even, but we had a group home that we ended up having to close because it no longer worked for the people that live there and burn. And we looked for residents in the county and actually found something in Wells County, which is just a few blocks actually from our main office. So that's kind of the change in the numbers and stuff right there. But again, those are something that change all the time. So
Have you seen any pause or delay in Medicaid reimbursement? I know.
no.
Good.
No.
Okay.
No, they've always been very good about that.
Because I know in the last few months, they had some issues.
Right. Well,
So-
we've been working through this process way before July of last year as far as getting a rate increase. We hadn't had a rate increase for the agency since 1998. And we had received some increases, but they were really focused just on staffing increases, which we appreciated, but it doesn't help us, you know, pay the bills and that too. So, anyway.
Yeah. And plus with some of your short-term investment, hopefully you've been able to see a little bit more return from some of that too.
What was that?
From some of the short-term investments, you're able to see a little bit better return from some of the interest.
Yeah, our
rates.
investments actually did pretty well most of the year till this past month. And then it kind of took a nosedive. So, yeah, so that's done better. Yeah. Yeah, we had received some of the increase in that, but we hadn't even received all of it. And then they had the announcement, back to your point earlier, on the Medicaid $1 billion shortage and stuff. And that was announced, and we hadn't even received our payment yet for, you know, the increase. So, yeah, but we haven't seen any impact, and there's a lot of discussion going on still right now. So we'll see how it turns out.
Well, you serve an important service for your client, that's for sure. So we appreciate that. Any
We love what we
questions?
do.
Thanks for what you do for our community, Tim.
So I would accept a motion to approve the request of,
$45,408.
there you go. So move.
Second.
Okay, I'll vote in favor of that.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, appreciate it.
Thanks, Tim.
The increase, is that a Medicaid, Medicare, what is that? Federal integrated increase, what is that?
It's a combination, it's CMS and the state of Indiana, they work together, they set rates and so on, so.
So it's
they got
Medicare,
us to say- It's Medicaid is what.
Medicaid it is.
Medicaid in the state of Indiana.
Well,
That's the
it's
first,
all Medicaid.
first increase is 1998.
Yes, Chris, which actually was specific to the agency. Right,
Okay,
so.
all right. Well, let's move along here and thank you very much for coming over, Tim. All right. Nate, do you have anything for us today? Speaking of silly questions.
Let's stay busy. Couple items, regarding the Sol Air 185, the trailer mounted compressor unit. Reviewed the quotes, and I'm recommending that we accept the quote provided by Wayne Vaughn or Wayne. After review of the bids and a conference between Paul and Brad and I, we're electing to eliminate a few of the add alternate items that were provided in that quote. So they've provided, and you have a copy of the updated quote amount. The total price for that unit will be $27,925. Brought it down not quite $2,000 from the quoted amount. Just for the record, note that the price did not change who the low bid was. This was just discussions as far as removing the add alternates. The numbers presented at the last meeting were including all of the ads that was presented from both companies. So just requesting approval to award Wayne Vaughn with that.
Okay,
Make a motion to award the compressor to Wayne Vaughn.
Second.
okay. Very good. Motion carries.
Thank you. Just a notice for you all that the bridge asset management plan that I had submitted to the state has been approved for federal funding. So what that means for us and our planning is that certain work types now become eligible for future federal grants. So of course, I'm probably going to have to update this one regularly, but that has always been the plan since we're in the inspection compliance months now. But you have a list that I've given you of possible work types that now become eligible. Now, some of them may not be cost effective to do. Some of them are preventative maintenance type projects. Other are kind of more broad safety elements that can be done. So I'm going to be looking at our project plans in the future to look at specific elements across the bridges and seeing how we can bundle them, do some prep work in-house. But ultimately, we will have to bring consultants in to put those applications together because there's obviously permitting work that's there. But it's a good thing for us to have that approval. It certainly is a more in-depth asset management plan for the county. So I'm glad to hear back from them that that's been approved.
So all these things that are now eligible, were they not eligible before?
Correct. We couldn't seek federal funds for any of those elements. They had to be part of a larger project. If you say you replace a bridge like 27, we're looking at replacing all of those elements would be part of the project as the replacement. But now I could go to a specific bridge and then seek federal funds for a much smaller work type. Before you had to reach a certain threshold to seek federal funds. Now you can go to a lesser extent, smaller grant awards for multiple projects. So you can do any one of those things or combination of those elements now on projects. It's a much more flexibility for the county. Now, it may not be cost effective to do any or all of those because you may be spending a lot of money for a small grant award. So that I probably wouldn't pursue doing, but until I've gone through and actually vetted certain project types out, I've submitted that along with the notice of that approval to our team, Ryan with Longest and Nev. So they're aware of that now. So we're going to look at trying to leverage those dollars. But yeah.
Very good. That's it looks like a pretty comprehensive list.
Oh, yes. That is a lot of different work type, and I'm going to have to get familiar with how best to try to utilize that. Some aren't going to make sense. Other ones might.
Nate, Mark just stepped out, probably what I didn't want him to, but when we were audited last time by state board, they didn't really write us up for it because it was new and we didn't know it, but because of ARPA and federal funding, anything over $25,000, I'm required to prove that they are not suspended or disbarred from doing business.
Oh, okay.
If that could be in a contract, if you work up a contract with federal dollars, if that could be included in the language. And Clayton, I think I had sent something to maybe you and Mark, our procurement policy. I don't think that covers that specific thing. So it might be that language could be added to that, and maybe we could amend it at some point if you could look over that and maybe somewhere down the line. Are you familiar with what I'm talking
Yes.
about?
We have that language in our consulting contract documents, so that boilerplate consulting document. So whenever I'm hiring anybody to do any kind of supplemental work on a project, that's involved from the engineering side. And then there's also, I believe, that language in our contracting, our boilerplate contract documents as well. So if I'm having any contractor go out into the field and work with us, that's there as well. Are you talking in regards to the Wayne Vaughn? And
It's anything $25,000 or more that involves federal funding.
Okay.
And
The purchase of that unit wouldn't necessarily use federal funding
Yeah.
because it'll come
I
out of the
wouldn't.
bridge, but others.
any of the bridge work or anything like that that's over $25,000 and it's federal money, that might,
Yeah, so just
whatever
by,
company does it.
as a
Is
boilerplate,
that a
that's
separate
there.
affidavit?
No, it's just written right into the contract language.
Yeah.
If it's not, and I've done this on a couple that it wasn't in the language where I can physically go into sam.gov.
Yep.
And they showed me how to search the company name and you can see if there's any exclusions.
Yeah, so you could search for them.
Yeah.
You could do that outside of the agreement to verify that they're not doing it. You can also put language, and I've done this on our construction contracts, that they're certifying by submitting that they're not, and if they ever are, that they have an obligation to submit that to you. And if they are disbarred and they don't, that it's terms for termination of the agreement. So you could pull their bond as a result of them. Essentially, it's considered breach of contract in those circumstances. So that's how it's set up, both from a consulting side and from a contracting.
So that would just help
Yep.
when we get audited. If it's already in the language, then that's as far as they go with it. They see it and they move on. If it's not, then I have to physically show them where I've gone in and check.
What we can do is give you a copy of the templates that we use, so you know what sections to look at and highlight that. That way it's real easy to find during an audit. And if you're ever audited and they bring that up, let me know and I'll certainly.
We also have to enter the contracts into Gateway.
Yep, so
For them to look at too, so if
Yep.
it's over a certain amount.
yep, no, not a problem. And I'll make sure I give you copies of any of those agreements that we sign.
Okay,
So-
thank you.
Nope. And then lastly, Bridge 40, just for you and for the minutes, I am having Engineering Resources perform a quality control review of my plans. I think I shared with you a draft set of plans as far as how I would like to do that sort of preventative maintenance project. Though that would be eligible for federal funds, I think having me do the plan development is cheaper than doing others, and it eliminates a couple of different moves as well. So, but just out of an abundance of caution, I'd like to have them do a quality control review since I am the engineering team, so there's nobody else to defer to. So they've agreed to do that just on an hourly basis. So they'll do a couple hours of review, make sure that's good, and then I can limit the amount of reviews that we do, so.
Well, I think it sounds like a real prudent way to assure quality control. So,
Rather than me doing the review, I'll do the design, and then I'll have them do a review and with me, so their portion's 5% versus 95%. That just seems to make some good sense. Certainly reduces some of the cost for that, but,
yeah,
all right.
sounds like a good use of consultants.
Well, yeah, I think that's a fair place for them to be at something, certainly something like that. So,
Yeah.
all right. Any other questions for me?
Very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay. All right, Brad, Paul, did you have anything for us?
Yeah, and we're actually here.
All right.
Here at the same time.
Yeah, last week, we thought we might make it. Well, when we looked at our time frame, we wouldn't have made it to our meeting, so.
Yeah.
So first thing I have is a permit. Jay County REMC is going to, on 300 west, right at 250 south, they're gonna run 1,000 feet south of that up to 250 south. Then they're gonna go down 250 south, actually going east 1,000 feet. There's gonna be a new cell tower put up back there in that field, so they're just running power there. So they're just getting a permit to work in the right of way. Went out and looked at it, and there again, REMC's good. They'll put their poles at the back of the right of way and all that, so I don't see a problem.
What's the township on that?
That would be Monroe,
Monroe Township? Or Monroe City?
Monroe Township.
Okay, any questions? Accept a motion to approve the permit.
So move. Second.
So to go on, just as a reminder for everyone, media, the buggy plate sells in May 15th. And just as a reminder also, they need to make sure they have their plate numbers when they come in to get the new plates. Just makes it so much easier. And then by the end of today, we should be over 2,000 plates sold, with judging off other average numbers other years, about 700 to go. So about 700 to go in 7 days, 5 days, 5 work days. So it's been really busy.
So it's about 2,700 plates.
Yep,
What did we have last year?
it's right around that 2,700.
Okay,
That's how we kind of judge. Yeah.
gotcha.
Yep.
How many buggies does the average household have? I have no idea.
I'd say a good average would be 2, but you get the ones that come in with 1, you get the ones that come in with 6. So, yeah, it's,
Kind of like the 2-car family or the
yeah.
3.
And how many of their kids are of
three
driving
buggy
age.
family?
So, yeah, no, the ladies in the office have done an awesome job. They have been busy, and I mean, this morning we had 2 in there at 10 till 7. We had to tell them, look, we don't open till 7. So,
So you sold about 2,000.
yes, right around 2,000. All right, the other, just a reminder, dust control, we are taking dust control applications until the 23rd of May. And again, it's $3 a foot. And Monday, we plan on getting out and start mowing. Things have really taken off this last week, so next week, we're gonna start mowing side ditches. Hopefully get,
That'll be the first mowing, right?
yes, correct. Yeah, and I think last year we ended up, some of them had 3 passes and 1 or 2 had 4 passes. So, and if we keep getting the rains, it'll keep going.
Well, I think there's some of the farmers had 5 cuttings of hay last year. For some reason, it was a long season.
Yeah, it was.
Long growing season.
Yep. And then next week, Paul's gonna get oil ordered in and start patching, so the pre-patching before we chip seal. They'll go out and drive chip seal roads and see if there's cracks in them and that, and then they'll do like a 3-foot patch or a 6-foot patch to cover that crack, and then when they do chip seal, they'll cover the whole road. So it's a preventative type thing.
Very good.
As a reminder then, next week we start our 10-hour days, so we're the Monday through Thursday, 6 to 4. And then the last thing I have are floor drains in our truck barn, so where all the dump trucks sit. They have, when it was built, they ran angle iron along the drains and then set the grates on top of that angle iron and the cement. Well, obviously, you can imagine after 20, 25 years, the salt and all that's just done a number on that. So it worked out good. Steve happened to stop by the other day and he got to see the whole thing right there. We were talking, we need to get an idea of what to do. So this is just a heads up. We had somebody come in and tell us what we need to do, and he's going to give us an idea. Probably end up having to get quotes on it.
Is the angle iron embedded in the concrete?
Yes.
Hey,
So that's what's happened. It's each way it gets in behind that angle iron and the concrete's just falling, so the grates fall in. So anyhow, that's just a heads up. It'll be coming.
Between the salt and trucks driving over it.
You figure a fully loaded truck, running over those grates. They turn on them and, yeah. So anyhow, that just, Steve saw it, so
Yeah.
he knows what the issue is. Other than that,
I got an update for the floodgates.
Speaking of gutters, let's
yes.
find out on the roof gutters.
So yes, that's been an interesting situation. And looking more at them, there were some other issues that got missed when the roof was put on. So they are actually back today fixing their issues. And we also talked with them about how the gutter gets installed. And they didn't plan on, they built it to the way they normally have their gutter guy do it. So they're putting in an additional 1x4 down the side, so that way we can install, basically anybody can install a gutter. Yeah.
Which they didn't do before.
No, because they thought the guy would just do it and put it on top.
I see.
Well, that really eliminates a lot of the, so there again, I thank you, I mean. it's
So
one of
did
them
they
we
charge
didn't-
extra for doing that?
He's not, no.
Good.
And then after he gets done with all that, then we'll get some pricing from
I see.
other gutter
Good.
companies. So yeah, learning experience.
Good. Did you guys get your new skid loader yet?
Yes. I
How's
thought I
that?
mentioned that. Anyway, yes, we have our new equipment.
You probably did.
Yep,
I
we have
just,
our new equipment.
sometimes these guys don't listen, so I won't for their.
You were gonna talk about gates.
Yeah, the floodgates for that the schools build, they've got, I don't know, about 20 of them done so far. The kids they're eating that up.
Good.
Wow.
We got the
What a
materials.
nice project for them.
Oh, it's so,
Yeah.
and they're enjoying it, and of course, their teacher's like, yeah, they haven't got the new 40 yet, but
Yeah.
so far, they're still, I was bringing pallets in with the forklift and setting it in their shop floor, and they were grabbing stuff off as I was pulling in, and they're really doing a nice job, so it's gonna be really good to, they feel like they're a part of something bigger than
Sure.
just a shop project, so,
Yeah.
yeah, it's really good for them.
Right.
So hopefully here before school's out, they'll have all of them done, and then we'll get stuff going, so.
And as a, just to go along with that real quick, not to interrupt Steve, we were reaching out to the places that flood that we meet with another county to get their
side
permission or
of
get
it.
them involved in it too. Because if we close our side and they don't totally close theirs, that'll create issues. So yeah, reached out to Jay County this morning and NDOT this morning, and then we got to talk to Wells County again.
Good.
Yes, so.
The dust control, maybe we talked about this
Mhm.
last year, I forget. I guess in my mind, I'm kind of wrestling with the fact that we charge our residents that live on a stone road to apply dust control. Obviously, if I live on a chip and seal road, I don't have to pay for dust control. You pay for it, or we pay for it, the county paid for it. So I guess I'm kind of, what do you think about that? I mean,
Well-
have we talked about that before?
Yeah, we did, and Paul, correct me if I don't state this right, but I believe there was a state statute
I believe so.
that states that,
Basically, we
can't-
cannot provide a service for one individual that we don't provide for everyone.
yeah, we would have to do it for everyone. And then we can only charge for the product. We don't charge for our time and labor.
Okay, so we just charge for the material.
Yes.
And we charge, in order for us to participate in that, we would have to offer that or deliver that for every resident on a stone road? Is that the way I would
If
understand?
we
interpret
didn't
that?
have them pay for it.
Right.
Okay.
They didn't pay for it if we provided it, say you lived on a stone road and Steve didn't, and we provided it for you and not charged, then Stan that lives on a stone road, he doesn't care if he has dust flying around or whatever, but we'd have to cover in front. Basically, we'd have to do every
Have to
mile
do
of stone road.
every,
Have to do it in front of everybody's house.
Okay.
I believe that's in the state statute that says you can't do for one that you can't do for the other.
Mark, I guess my question, would there be a way for us to participate in that without having to do it in front of every residence on a stone road? And for instance, if it costs $3 a foot maybe we split that cost, we pay half and the resident pays half.
Part of the
But we
dust
would,
control?
but we would offer that to every resident.
You mean is that for dust control?
Yeah, dust control, yeah.
We
mean,
discussed this last year.
We
got
I
shot down.
did.
Yeah, we brought this up last year.
And it's,
Shot down.
and we do offer to everybody,
Yeah.
but
But we only
It
charge
is.
for material.
yes, and I'll admit, yeah, it's.
So we are,
it's going up.
we are subsidizing it with labor and equipment.
Well, I guess I just feel bad that if we had every road in the county chip and seal, nobody would have to pay for dust control.
Right.
So they would all have dust control by default. So it feels unfair to me. It feels unfair. And I'm just wondering if there's some way to soften that unfairness. Like maybe we pay half and the resident pays half. So if you don't care, you still wouldn't get it. You still wouldn't want to pay $1.50, but I don't know.
It depends on where's the money come from. It would have to come out of the highway budget.
Comes out of our
Yeah,
NVH.
and do we have the
local roads.
funds, what do you?
Yeah, that would be the next question is if, say we subsidize that by a dollar a foot, what would we have to find? How many dollars do we have to find in the budget? And can we do it? And then if we can do it, can we afford to do it? Maybe is the
And
question.
that varies every year. If you subsidize, it might bring more people in.
Yeah,
I guarantee-
you might.
Yeah, it would, and I'll just say too, in the time I've been there, prices went up every year, and we've talked about this too. And this year, now granted, they still got till the 23rd, and we don't have very many this year. But maybe they're waiting to come in, we don't know. But
So,
obviously, when the price goes up, it seems few and fewer.
so at $3 a foot, just wet finger in the wind, what would it cost me if I've got
We do a minimum, our minimum written in our ordinance is 100 feet.
okay. So $300.
So that'd be $300 to do 100 feet.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know why you couldn't. I think we would have to have we'd have to adopt an ordinance probably and create it as a dust control program.
It feels unfair to me that basically the county has funded dust control for me, because I live on a chip and seal road, but it doesn't for you because you live on a stone road, because we've chosen not to chip and seal your road. So in order for you to get dust control, you have to pay for it. Just doesn't feel right to me.
I think it's up to us as a county government to maintain the roads for travel. And, obviously over the years, we've tried an ongoing program to improve roads from stone roads to paved roads, and we're still working on that. It's an ongoing program. To me, the dust control is a benefit more towards the landowner as far as a nuisance rather than travel. So I don't know, where does our responsibility start and where does it end? And so it's the dust control being an advantage for the home and the homeowner so they don't get dust blown in through their screens. Are we responsible for that? I don't know. I think by subsidizing with labor and equipment, we are subsidizing the people who want dust control, and we're still providing, a good road for them to travel on. So it's kind of a gray area, but I think we are being appropriate with people that want dust control for the benefit of their home and their yard.
I guess I would just ask you to tell me, maybe last year, give me how many feet of road we did, so we could just thumbnail what we want to subsidize. Yeah, nope, just
Yeah, we can send you some.
Next-
Send it
yeah.
off for you.
good deal. That'd be great.
I think you can, either way, I think that's up to the Board of Commissioners. I think if you say you wanted to provide, some sort of funding for that for homeowners, I think we can come up with that and adopt an ordinance to do it.
Good.
And if you say, no, we're not going to do it, obviously that's what we're doing now. We're already have a program, but if you want to modify that program to include a portion of the actual materials cost, I think that can be done. Because, the county is in the process of trying to pave as many roads as you can, and it's going to take a long time. And so to the extent,
Yeah, the new, yep.
it's, and so, but, if you had a dust control program and was more highly utilized, and then who knows, maybe you have more development along those roads than what you presently have. And so, anyway, I think that's within your discretion.
When an appraisal on a property is done, do they give deference to whether it's on a paved road or stone road?
Yes. But
Yeah, if you could just give me a number.
Okay. It's
Hey Brad, how many miles of gravel road do we have? Roughly, how many miles?
106,
How many miles of paved road?
554. But that's paved or chip and seal. Yeah.
554.
Yeah.
Big difference there.
That it?
In the last couple of years, how many miles of stone road have we converted to chip and seal?
So last year we only did one last
Finished
year.
1 mile.
Yeah, and then we adopted that new process,
Yeah.
getting the extra right away and all that.
So we've not done many
No.
conversions in the last,
We got 4
We got 4 miles that
in the process.
paperwork's being finalized and all that. And just as a reminder, then we have utilities moved and, we go in and
I
replace all
know,
the
I know,
pipes.
it's a big,
It drags it out.
bigger deal than what some guy like me would think it is.
And it drags it out, but when it's done what we feel is right.
Good deal.
is that 400?
Yes.
Yeah, I got the survey from Wimoff, so. Yep.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, Rick, did you have anything for us? Rick.
They tried, did she try?
Probably. I don't think I was in there at that time.
Sure he did.
You can afterward.
Hi, guys.
Morning.
Just before I came in here, well, this morning, I had notified our salesman for our generator, because it was supposed to be coming off the 5th. And then the transfer switch actually today. Prior to me coming in here, he just sent me a text. The generator is now out to 627. The transfer switch right now is 7.5. I asked him in a text, why does it keep getting pushed out? And his response was components. So that's just where it is with it, I guess.
Used to all be around chips. I don't know whether they're still having a chip issue or just other parts, huh?
The component is the issue, and that's what's causing the production delays. That's what he said.
So far, this is about the 6th date that they've given us. So
Yeah.
essentially, we're learning that we can't trust any dates that they give us, because the initial date was November of 23.
That's exactly
And then it was January, then it was February, then it was, so it's like, I guess it's gonna be when it's gonna be, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Did we have to pay anything down on this?
No, we have not paid 1 penny on the generator. We have for the conduit and things, but not the generator itself, nor the transfer switch that we paid for at all.
And that's probably the only thing that we can do is make sure we're ready on our end when it does come.
And we are. I mean, I would have loved to have the transfer switch first, because then we could have had the wiring done, but they don't want to run wire down that alley and just leave that wire exposed
Right.
prior to setting the generator. It's probably not a good idea.
Well, and the only other thing that's kind of screwed us up is with not being able to move the panels into the power room, that kind of delays our server room as far as updating the servers in the server room, which we had a temporary workaround, but that would have been what, $7,000?
6,400.
6,400, which we decided, or you decided not to do that because they've given us a date of delivery by now, so.
Now, I have not told Mike Brown about these dates. I just got this prior to coming in here. But what you're speaking about, Stan, I mean,
But some of our servers have been end of life since February.
we may have to
And
move those
so
panels.
that's why it's important to get that room
I know it.
updated.
It's just,
So
so we may
do you spend the money on the workaround just because we don't know when the generator's coming?
redundant work.
Yeah.
Rick, I wonder, we're talking about a $150,000 piece of equipment, or I forget what the generator number was, but it was a big number. I have no idea what the profit is in that to the vendor, but I wonder if you go back to the vendor and say, hey, these delays are causing us to do this amount of work. We expect you to participate in that cost. How can you help me out?
Well, that's a good point, because when we were looking at November 1st, we thought, no problem.
Yeah.
Our service will be fine. We'll get the generator, we'll move the panels to the new power room. We can update add a server rack, or I don't know if we're adding one rack or two. But, that November 1st, I was just like, okay,
Yeah.
good. But here we are 6 months past that, and soon we're gonna be 6 months past the server end of life. And
But you're right, gentlemen. I agree with you, Steve, and I'll contact him. Just like, we put it off, kind of gambling that these dates would work, just as you stated, Stan. But listen, hey, I've got a $6,400 bill here that I'm gonna have to do to get this changed. I don't think I should have to pay for it.
And they're gonna come back and say, it's not our fault.
I know.
Yeah.
You know that,
But you don't know till you ask. And I've had vendors come back and say, we get it, we'll split the bill with you, or whatever.
right.
There's some possibility there, but we won't know till we ask.
Yeah. I will.
But like I say, if you go back to them and say, these weren't arbitrary dates that you gave us. These were dates that you anticipated, and they'll say, well, it wasn't guaranteed. No, it wasn't, but, we based our mechanicals on your November 1st date. So,
Yep, I'll
so effectively that June 27th date means nothing to
that
us.
means nothing. The other 16.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. It's frustrating for.
But yeah, that'd be good. I mean, like you say, just see if they'll.
Yeah.
Does anybody else manufacture them generators?
They did, Steve, but they were higher.
Well, the higher one might be better than not have one.
I mean, we got like 3 quotes and this was where we landed, but yes, to answer your question, they do. Yeah.
Maybe those companies are the ones that are getting all the components.
That's what I'm saying.
And we'll probably have to be rebid and go through that entire process again if we did that.
Yeah. Well, you're right. I'm gonna ask you, did the other companies get?
And
We give you the bottom dollar.
it probably would have some weight if you say, and on top of that, the commissioners are talking about just rebidding this whole project, so you guys need to help us out here.
Yeah.
That's just another reason for them to participate.
Talk to the retention department. That's what Tammy does.
You
said we have not paid anything on that yet, though.
No,
Not the generator itself,
not the generator, not,
other parts around it, yes.
but we have not paid anything on the generator or transfers.
Well, we paid Service Electric to run all the conduit.
Correct. The project
Get it
itself,
set
but
up.
not the machine.
Right.
I'll call it. I'll make some calls.
You could be the nice guy and make us the bad guy.
Just did
Good
the,
cop, bad cop.
last week we did, Courses was in and did the fire extinguisher test, both courthouses. I believe this one here is in August when we do it. into July or August. I think there was 3 that we had to replace just because they were end of life. But, I mean, they were good, but, been working, Stan, you know about this, I'm just bringing this up right now. Been working with IT, Mike and Bob, on some electrical work that may be done for cyber issues at the courthouse. So we're gonna get some quotes. We have gotten quotes in, Stan, I just got some of those in that
Good,
we were talking about Friday.
yeah.
So getting closer on that, kind of waiting on the fire compression for that room, see what it is, so. I'm just bringing it up because I'd like to, we get all these quotes, come and present this project to you that he came to me about. So that's going on.
Well, one of the things we're looking at, or that we talked about Friday anyway, was accommodating a generator for the parts of the courthouse that would be affected during an election day. Because if we were to have a power outage on election day.
Yesterday, perfect example. We got
Yeah.
warnings all day that
So that doesn't mean necessarily having a generator there 100% of the time. It just means accommodating a generator with the wiring to power the clerk's office and voting machines.
good,
Have it on standby.
good.
Like it wouldn't do the whole facility, but just what the clerk's office would need to.
Well, and I know we're nervous when we think about this, but I know the Regional Sewer District has a trailer mounted generator that as long as they didn't need it somewhere at one of their big pump stations, we could plug it in.
We looked at 3 things, utilizing that, thinking, well, if we need it, they might, never know.
Well, that was the
No.
discussion. It's like, okay, if the power's out and we need it, we can borrow a generator. No, because everybody's gonna need a generator.
And we thought about having, renting one or purchasing it and see what it would cost, where
Yeah.
it could be used at other places also, so.
There,
And it wouldn't have to be a huge generator.
No, this is on like a 12K, like a house generator. That's what it would be.
the bottom line is you can probably buy one and have it sitting there as cheap as you can line one up to
I think
rent.
that's really what it's gonna be.
It's there, it's as a residential level generator,
Yeah,
it's
that's what it is.
$5,000, $6,000.
Doing the whole courthouse
Yeah.
at this time. Anyway.
Yeah.
Little touch on that, so. There's other things going on, but you guys got anything else?
I don't know that I do.
I guess an alternative to that might be if, for instance, if yesterday the power had gone out, we have this building covered with a generator, could the clerk relocate what they're doing to room 125, 124, whatever it is downstairs, to our backup operations center here and continue on to do the thing?
Yeah, and that was discussed Friday too. But,
Well, one of the things we wanted to do, Shelley wasn't there Friday.
Yeah.
So my thought was, as we move this ahead, we need to get Shelley in the discussion.
Yeah. Well, I think
she knows about this, but not, she's aware of it, but
the fact that that the warnings came and yesterday was election day and it was a good timing. But if we don't do something about it, we probably won't do anything until the next time those two things line up and we may actually lose power and then we're in trouble.
I think ironically, there's been a county where just at the courthouse, somebody hit the pole and knocked the power out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's with the storms.
Yeah. All right, very good. There's nothing else?
Rick, would you refresh my memory on where we're at relative to the long-term storage discussions that we've been having? has any more thought been put into that as far as a location, any improvements that would need to be made to it before we begin to relocate records from?
Well, myself and Stan and Shelley and Jamie, we went around looking at
Mhm.
facilities.
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Stan, I mean, I think it really come down to, we're going to have to free up some space maybe here to accommodate that.
Okay.
I guess that's kind of where that is in some sense, and then maybe doing some remodeling in whatever areas that we pick. I think we have a good idea, but it's basically trying to create space.
Well, yeah, one of the things we want to do is create a space and like get all our stuff out of the bank basement down there
Yeah,
in Geneva. And then prioritize the other records that we have as far as what can be scanned and thrown away
Right.
or destroyed and what can be scanned, but we still have to keep. And so there's that whole prioritization of records.
I'm not sure what areas of the building you're considering, but I know that the Economic Development Corporation, they will be moving out once they get their new home remodeled. My understanding from the meeting I had earlier this week is that those plans, I believe, have now been approved. And so I don't know that they're going to be out of there by the end of the year, which I think is kind of what they were pointing toward, but maybe first quarter next year. So I don't know whether that's some of the space that was in the master plan or not, but
that is pieces to the puzzle.
sure, I hear you. Sometimes you got to move people around, and I get that. But just as an update there, I think they're probably into Q1 next year
Yeah.
before they're actually going to be ready to vacate that space.
But if you would like sometime, just get with me and I can enlighten you on
Good.
what these pieces. of the
Thank you.
puzzle-
Good deal. Good deal.
Well, and I think the process, this has been several months ago that we did that tour, but kind of in the process, the last couple of months, Shelley's had her hands full. so.
I hear you. I get it. I get it. I'm not pushing it all. I'm just trying to, I've forgotten where we were at. It's like, what are we doing about that?
Yeah. So if you see bald spots, because she's been pulling her hair out, you'll know why. All right, thank you, Rick. All right, Mark, what do you have for us today?
Two subdivisions.
Actually, they're just,
Replat of a replat.
so there's still 3 lots, they just moved the lines. Yeah. They're not brand new.
Where we at?
100 west, 1,000 north. This is how it started. Direction. Farms. Right here, this piece.
Yeah.
Now grew into all of this because this was already a subdivision, 3 lots. And they wanted to separate this piece off actually to build in this area. Okay. So this got created, but that would have been a 4th lot. So then this absorbed the big part.
Okay, so this lot, this all
That's
joined
That's all
together.
joined together now.
There's a new lot here.
Yep. Yep, this line got erased. Over
Just
there.
2 lots then, right?
It's just a replat, so it was 3 to start with, it's still 3.
Oh, okay.
We just changed sizes.
Motion approved.
6.
And then where's this is lot 1, lot 2, and where's lot 3?
Maybe up here. Well,
I can't.
it was part of the original.
Yeah, it's part of the original, so we didn't even show that because we didn't change it. So I think this is lot 1.
It's all jail.
Very good.
But yeah, they just changed.
Take a motion to approve.
Yeah.
That's all jail file. Sorry. So, we're fine. Okay. We shouldn't be paying any tax on it.
Right.
No reason to appeal.
Well, I'm easy to.
That's all Jill. So
Okay.
he just wasn't sure what needed. I checked the parcel numbers, it all lines up.
Just take that up and file this one.
Where's my?
Those numbers. For the Council on Aging, if those numbers changed,
It did.
that's why he
I think
said
that one was done.
updated.
Same thing.
I'll have them approve that.
Okay.
You're gonna laugh at this one, but meets the requirement, so here we go.
There we go.
Yep. So this is what was there. We had a lot here, 1, 2, and 3. 2 and 3. And they broke out this section in its own lot from this. So that line's original, that's original, that's original. They just wanted to break that out. So they couldn't do a fourth lot. So this piece and this piece got connected by a 30-foot
Oh,
stretch
my
right here. That is now lot 1.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Strange things we do.
To make something
So
happen.
this is not a road.
Nope, nope, that's field. Got road frontage here, still have the original road frontage that was to get to this lot. Still there, didn't change that. But now when you drive back here, technically this is one lot. Instead of one here and one there. So it was 1, 2, 3.
With this connection back here, they really wouldn't need this access.
They wouldn't need it, but they just
Left it.
left it.
Yeah.
And you can build 2 homes on one lot, so technically they could have a house and then a house. And instead of side by side, they can make it separate, look like they're 2 different lots, but
Yeah.
that was their way around getting that separate.
How would you vote, Eric?
It's legal.
It meets the rules, but it's stretching them.
Legality can become strange
Brett Miller about
sometimes.
his creativity here.
It's like discussing tax law. What's legal and what makes sense?
That gonna be a 4-0 vote with Eric.
What, yeah, yeah. Or is it? I don't.
That's all I got.
You did vote on that one, too, didn't you? You did vote on that one too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Steve couldn't have made the motion, I think.
Okay, that's fine. And Eric voted, so that's 4-0.
Yeah.
I don't know about Jim, he's too busy.
Mark, what all do you have for us?
You have a updated report from Michelle for Council on Aging that you need to approve. She's also got it's in the form of a letter as well to Indiana Department of Transportation. It's regarding an increase in the funding proposal grant request for calendar year 2025. And so she has updated the numbers for activity of the Council on Aging Transportation Program through the end of April. So those numbers are updated from the report that you got previously that was through the end of March. And so it just reflects the collections, revenue, usage, rides, utilization. And this is a request for additional federal funding for the program. And I just need you to approve the funding request along with the updated report numbers for utilization. I'll send this down if you want everybody take a look at it. This is the previous one through March. This is through April. And then if you're so inclined, then I would ask you to approve that and we'll have a motion to approve it. All commissioners sign, and then this can go back to Michelle. She can sign and then get it submitted.
So we only have to approve one or both of them?
No, just this one, but I'm giving you this is through March, this is through April. So I'll send that down, you guys can take a
And
look at
that's a
that.
request for federal funding.
Mhm.
I wonder, hopefully at some point she'll be eligible for state funding also. So you want to look at that? Otherwise I'd accept it.
One is the old and one is the new. I don't know if there's signatures needed on the old or not. It might not be.
No, just
Okay.
on the new one.
Then I'll take that back with me and I can scan it and send it over to Michelle.
You wanna look at it first?
Yeah, let me take a look.
Well, initially, I think she had to have the program in effect and showing a responsible program for 2 years before she was eligible for state funding, I think, so.
I think that's going back to Todd Jennings.
Yeah, and actually, listening to Todd, he almost sounded like maybe that could be,
I think it's going better than what he had expected, to be honest.
He told council and here in Decatur last night, if she makes it through the third year, she's gonna get a huge federal outpouring.
good.
And she said at least 300,000, probably more.
Wow,
See, Steve, I'll make a motion to approve
good.
funding request.
Second.
All right, I'll vote in favor of that also. Good.
And then I gave each of you a copy of a proposed resolution that I received from Sheriff Mayor. He asked that the county commissioners consider adopting a resolution of support for our law enforcement officers in Adams County and the state of Indiana. This has been done for several years in a number of counties. I don't recall if we adopted an ordinance like, or a resolution like this last year or not, but the week of May 12 through May 18 is designated as National Police Week, a time to honor the men and women who serve in law enforcement and pay special tribute to those officers who have made the ultimate sacrifice and the families of those fallen heroes. And it's a resolution that supports our Indiana law enforcement officers, our Adams County law enforcement officers, including all of the departments, local departments in Adams County, as well as all United States law enforcement officers. So there's a lot of statistics in here, and I could go through and read this. I guess my question to you is, if you're inclined to adopt this resolution, we could adopt it today. I originally thought we would adopt it next week, but we don't meet next week. So
You need a
Anyway.
resolution number?
that's up to these guys. If they want to,
Well, I've always seen that as one of the core responsibilities that we have as commissioners, is to provide an active and robust sheriff's department, jail and dispatch system. So, I'd certainly be in favor of any support we can give to our law enforcement officers.
and there's no financial support. It's nothing more than a declaratory resolution that says
Do we have a resolution number?
I'll need one.
It's number 6, Resolution 2024-.
I'll make a motion that we accept this resolution.
Okay,
I'll second.
2024-6. And let
Vote in
me,
favor of that also.
You want all these signed?
well, yeah, we'll get them signed, but I'll go ahead and go through it.
Is this a brand new week? This just begun this year?
No, I don't think, I
I
think,
never heard of it before.
well, I thought it's been several years, but I could be wrong. Could be wrong. Maybe this is the
May
first
12
year.
to 18, right?
May 12th through the 18th. And anyway, I mean, I can run through and read it if you like for the press, and then give them copies if you guys.
It's up to you. I don't think you need to run through it, but I just want to say that it's been on my heart, I guess, every time I read another article, and there have been several in the paper lately about car chases and rescues and domestic violence disputes. And it seems to me like we live in an ever increasingly dangerous world, and it even encroaches on little sleepy Adams County and the job that those guys do. I know is dangerous. It is, it's more dangerous than it used to be. I appreciate what they do for us. I could not do what they do. I'm glad they do it. I'm thankful that they do it. And whatever support that I can give them, certainly they're going to get. But every time I read something else in the paper that scares me, I think our local police officers had to respond to that and deal with it. And they do it in a professional way, and I'm just thankful.
What I could do is rather than read all of the statistics and the introductory paragraphs, I can read just the actual resolution itself, which is pretty short. So basically, it's a resolution 2024-6 is a resolution of the Adams County Board of Commissioners expressing support for law enforcement officers in Adams County and the state of Indiana, and includes those outside the state of Indiana. But it says, therefore, be it resolved that the Adams County Board of Commissioners, number one, highly respects and values the law enforcement officers in the state of Indiana, Adams County, the United States, and greatly appreciates all that those officers do to protect and serve their communities, and remembers and honors law enforcement officers who have experienced a death or injury in the line of duty and the families of those officers, and calls for increased measures to be taken to maximize the safety and well-being of law enforcement officers, including improvements relating to the retention and recruitment of officers, improved training and equipment for officers, tougher penalties for assaulting or killing an officer, and increased mental health resources for officers, and strongly condemns the misguided movement to defund and defame the police, and calls on all levels of government in Adams County, state of Indiana, and across the United States to ensure that law enforcement officers receive the support and resources necessary to keep all communities in Indiana and the United States safe. Resolved this 8th day of May. Do I have the date right? Yes. Yep. 2024. So there's a motion and a second. Is that voted on?
And yeah, and I voted in favor also.
Okay, so it's adopted, and I'll provide a copy of this to all of you. All right,
There's 2 copies signed.
two signed, you got one? All right.
I got
I'll make a
one.
copy of this one.
Do you need any more?
No, as long as you've got one and I got one.
You actually have an extra one there signed.
Yep.
Top had burned the paper on Monday about stories where officers could have been in danger.
Yeah. Just more than I recall reading, and it seems like it's
Never
just,
seen that much of a caution in our paper.
Yeah.
One each. That was happening.
yeah, and like I said, it just hit me that our local law enforcement are drug into that just more than I recall in my life.
It's a little different process was when I was raised in Steeler.
It is.
That's all I got.
Thanks for preparing that.
Yep.
Shannon, do you have anything for us?
So last week I sent you guys a job description for a public safety support systems technician, which is the position in the sheriff's department that will be handling like the equipment and the systems that they work on. So the goal of that position is to hire January 125, but it would be a new position altogether. So this is my first step in that.
So is that the IT
Yes.
person?
Yep, it is, they will manage or oversee like the processes and systems that are specific to the sheriff's office, but still report, they will be under the IT department, but they'll basically work out of the jail.
Okay, I saw that and honestly, I didn't read it in detail. Did you gentlemen look at it, read it?
I did.
What's your thoughts?
It looked fine to me. I appreciate the way you've got that set up from reporting responsibilities. I think it makes absolute sense. And I think the need is there. We just need to find funding.
What's the position called again?
Public safety systems support technician. I'll send it to you.
Send it to me.
Who thought of that?
Couldn't have been shorter. I'm not gonna even ask what the initial
And
was.
I did develop this with Stan, Eric, and Mike, so we've all collaborated on it and seen it. Because it grew.
So as far as approving this job description, then that will go to council to fund the
Correct.
position.
Yep, I still have to go through wage review to sign it a wage.
Okay.
And then it'll obviously have to be part of the budget discussion for 25. So Dan and I have talked about kind of a plan to address that in his budget. Because from my understanding, it's going to be paid for out of 1170, but it's still going to report to IT. So.
Okay. All right, well, I guess as far as action, I would ask if there's any further discussion on it, or if you gentlemen would like to act on it and recommend it as a new position.
Are we approving just the job description? Or are we approving the position?
Well, that's up to the
Or
motion.
both?
I think for right now, we're just approving.
Just the job description?
Yeah, that's all I'm asking for
Okay, so
today.
you're not acting to approve the position?
Not yet, no. I still have a whole process to go through.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, if
I'll
we,
make a motion to approve the job description.
Second.
okay, very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for sending that to me. I don't know if I can,
No, you're fine, I will.
public systems, I can't remember it already.
Public Safety System Support Technician. So that would be a
What acronym are we going to use for that?
so that way if somebody needs help, they just go, I need help.
More of a sound effect than an accident.
That's right. All right, very good. A couple things, like Rick said, we did have the change management meeting on Friday, discussed the generator panel, discussed employees, not only this employee, but how he wants to approach his department, so. One of the things we were asked to do was to nominate somebody to the health board from the commissioners. And so I approached the Chris from EMS, Chris Burkhart, and he wrote a letter back. He said, I would like to recommend Katrina Gilbert for the Health Department Advisory Board. Katrina is a pharmacist at Memorial Hospital and a resident of Adams County. And so I wanted to bring that to you gentlemen and see if you knew her, if you had any thoughts. I have not approached her yet. But, so if you want me to approach her and then get back
See
with
the new
you,
pharmacist out at their new retail location.
might be.
13th Street. I met her, but I don't recall her
Katrina
name,
Gilbert.
honestly.
So, as far as moving ahead with that, if you'd like me to contact her, or if you gentlemen would like to talk to her, otherwise that's Chris's recommendation.
Why don't you go ahead and get a hold of her?
Yeah,
and
if
see
you
what
would
she
do that,
thinks.
that would be great, Stan. I have no reason to believe that she wouldn't perform well.
Do you want me to get some contact information to Brooke then, and as far as preparing an appointment?
Yeah.
For her to the health
Mhm.
board?
Yep.
Okay.
Angie work together on those?
Or should I get it to Angie?
I think Brooke and Angie typically work together on appointments. They both
Yeah,
have
they do.
all the information.
Steve, did you want to say anything about this, or did you want to?
I didn't have anything prepared. I think we, you're talking about the presentation that Brett Miller made regarding the options we have out at the land around the jail, Peacekeeper Way.
Because he sent that to us along with an invoice.
Right. No, number one, I think he did great work. I forwarded the invoice on to Tony and asked him to pay that. That was coming out of the ARPA funds. But I think from a where do we go next with this? In my mind, it's like, what are our options? And I know from a housing option, we have the housing resource hub that we are paying as consultants to help us think through our housing options here in Adams County. Might be good to have Ryan or one of his team members come and just talk to us about what other counties are doing relative to public-private partnerships and housing development and what options are and what could happen.
Well, I think it's been 2 weeks ago, I had a short meeting with Heather and Ryan and one of their other team members. And I actually kind of preemptively showed them some of the stuff that he'd come up with.
Yeah.
And so their wheels started turning right away as far as, oh, you know, what can we do with this? How can we do this? Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good way to move ahead is, you know, take it to them and
Have them bring us some suggestions as far as what they might think we could do, and maybe we don't need to do anything. Maybe we just need to say, hey, here it is and it's for sale, but I don't know how we go forward with that.
yeah. Well, let's do that. Let's contact them. Do you want to contact them?
I'll do
or you
that
want
if
me
that's
to?
okay. I'll do
And
that.
just kind of, you know, sit down with them, you know, show them what he's come up with and
Good. Be
you
happy
know,
to do that.
kind of come up with some options on,
Sure. What they think.
because we're not developers, we're not realtors,
No, we
You know,
don't want to
we-
be in that business, but
but we do own this land and we want to see it put to good
we
use.
have needs here in the county that need to be met,
And now we know exactly what
right?
what
What the
We
options are
have.
there.
Hey, Steve, who's Ryan?
Ryan Chasey is that his last name? I think it's Ryan Chasey from the Housing Resource Hub. Yeah. If you remember, they helped us put together the housing symposium that we had a year or so ago down in Bern. Okay. So they're helping us kind of, and helping other counties with this whole housing shortage, think through options. They're a consulting company.
All right, well, thank you, and we'll kind of look forward to hearing what they have
Yeah,
to say.
we'll get Brian, or Ryan to come give us some options, thoughts. I would have a quick update for you on the vision plan work that we're working on. Been working on the RFP, the request for proposal to put out for a consulting company to begin to work with us on this Adams County Vision 2036 and Beyond plan. And I think we're kind of in the final phases of that. We had the one from LaGrange County and the one from Wabash County. We've looked at both of those and kind of patterned ours after the LaGrange County RFP. I've been working with Colton Bickle to help me kind of gather in the statistics on Adams County population and all the kind of the background stuff that's in that RFP. But when it gets down to actually who's issuing the RFP, I feel like it needs to come from the commissioners. We're paying for it. The money's coming from us. So ultimately, I think we're going to need to approve that RFP. I'd like to get it back out to NERC at Bodrin, I think is his name, from NERC, came in and made a presentation to the steering committee about how to craft the RFP and some of the work that they've done. So I'd like to send ours back to him for a look at what we've got, get it to the steering committee, but I'd also like to share it with you guys and have you take a look at it, see if there's anything in there that you would object to, you'd like us to rephrase. It talks about, it addresses assisting the Plan Commission to whatever extent they would like assistance to looking at the land use plan. It talks about assisting the city of Decatur and the city of Geneva, the town of Geneva specifically, because they do not have current vision plans. But I also, in the proposal, asked them to break that cost out so that if the city of Decatur says, yep, I want to do it, and we're willing to pay the bill, and Geneva says, yeah, I want to do it, and we're willing to pay the bill, they could actually have, as a part of this grand plan, they could walk away with a vision plan, that standalone vision plan, but also one that integrates into the county's plan. So those are kind of some of the nuances that I tried to write into the RFP. Happy to have you guys take a look at it and see if it comes across that way to you. But obviously, the project is so broad that it's going to take a lot of discussion back and forth with the consultants. Do this, don't do that, do it this way. We want you to end up with this. So it's about, I would say it's about 10 or 12 pages long, but it's not that long of a read, honestly. But if it's okay with you guys, I'll get that to you.
You say you wrote it up?
Yeah, but it was basically formatted off of LaGrange's, and I think they may have formatted off of Wabash's. They all look the same, honestly, so.
Is that something you want to look over, Mark?
I've actually sent it to Mark and Clayton already in that
Okay.
draft form and asked them to look at. Specifically, there's some legalese at the end that says that we can decline all the bids and all that stuff that I'm sure we need to protect ourselves anytime we issue an RFP. So I've sent it out to them already. So if it's okay, I'll get it to you guys. You can take a look
Yeah.
at it. And
Yeah, because we've got money approved out of the ARPA
we
funds
do. We've got
to-
ARPA money approved
Yeah.
to do it. So,
Good.
so I'm pretty excited
Well,
about
and
it.
the other thing I'm glad of, you know, I know you kind of took a little bit of different direction with going towards a vision plan,
Mhm.
but you're still looking at addressing the comprehensive land use plan also.
Right, and I went to the Plan Commission at their last meeting and offered the assistance of this consultant. I told them I would write it into the RFP to assist them in whatever way that they saw fit. So if it's formatting, if it's editing, if it's legal research to help make sure that it meets all the legal requirements, whatever that is. So it's a pretty broad piece in the RFP. But I don't think it'll be anything that they're not used to seeing, the consultants are used to seeing and working with.
Good. Okay.
So I think they'll know how to handle it, even though it's written pretty broadly, because the Plan Commission really didn't know exactly what they might want help with.
Sure.
So I wrote it pretty broad.
Very good.
Okay. So that's just information there, and I'll get you guys that draft so you can take a look at it. And I'd like to take it back to the steering committee and have them look at it again. And if we can do that maybe in a week or two, then we can get that RFP out. And there's a whole series of date milestones in there, when the proposals have to be back, when the questions have to be in, if there are questions about it, so on and so forth. It's like, but we actually probably wouldn't be kicking the project off until maybe the end of the third quarter, fourth quarter this year. So it's going to take us 3 to 4 to 5 months actually through the RFP and the vetting of the proposals and the actual engagement of a vendor or a consultant. It's going to be a while.
Good.
It just takes a while.
I'll tell them it's being worked.
Another project, judicial facilities, we've kind of had some ongoing meetings on that. No real progress, but kind of been continuing to meet with that. The other thing is just kind of an update on last year, we offered a grant through using the opioid steering committee money and our opioid money. And currently our fund balances and the restricted money is $182,503.84. The unrestricted monies, we have $102,688.55. So as we move ahead, we may want to kind of be thinking about if we want to offer grants again, or.
I felt like that process was really a good one. I don't know that we were successful in getting a lot of people contending for that, but I kind of felt like maybe as we got a little bit further along in the calendar, that more people would understand what we're trying to do there. But I thought that the opioid steering committee put together a great grant process.
Yeah. Well, I'll talk to Ian. Ian kind of was the front end of that
Yeah.
last time. I'll talk to him again and see.
Yeah, if they were happy with that, I was sure happy with what I saw.
So. Okay. I don't know that I have anything else. Anything from the general public? Okay. Any other reports?
Make most to adjourn.
Second.
All right, meeting adjourned.